And we're live with Heidi Nordlund. I think I pronounced that right. That's Nordlund. She is a superstar. She's got 24 years of experience. She's a soul renewal practitioner. She channels remote Tibetan astral healing. She's a certified Ayurvedic doctor, a yoga therapist, and a spiritual healer. In the last 24 years, she's assisted people in wholeness, healing at all levels, advancing spiritually and unleashing their healer within. She offers a unique combination of ancient healing, intuition, herbal medicine, purification, and karma clearing processes. She joins us from, is it Boulder, Colorado? Is that where you are today?
That is
Well,
correct. Thank you, Shay.
welcome, Heidi. Thanks for joining the show. How are you doing today? How's
Uh,
Colorado?
Colorado is beautiful. It's overcast today, actually, and it's nice and rain. So it's nourishing. I can get the sense of all the trees and the grasses and the bushes. They're dancing in the water. It's lovely.
Oh,
It's so dry here, so the rain is such a blessing. And I'm doing great. Thank you, Shay, for that introduction. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. There's just so much you've done over the years, and not sure where to start. We could start at what seems to be uh, what you've been chosen for in ancient. We could start at the Tibetan astral healing, and you can tell us all about what you do and how you help people. Um, I'll leave it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to share about this ancient Tibetan healing that knocked on my door a decade ago, and it it's rocking my world every single day. Let me tell you, because I'm obviously not Tibetan, right? I was born in Denmark. That's where I chose to be in this lifetime. And so I was trained back in, let's go a little bit further back to 2006, when I found a hands-on healing modality from Tibet that is going under the name Tibetan cranial. And I've been practicing that ever since 2006, and I love that healing. In-person work for in-person, Tibetan cranial is the best for brain injuries and concussions and whiplashes and headaches and migraines and jaw issues and sinus issues. The list is, it go on and on and on and on. And so the greatness of the Tibetans, and it would have been strange if the Tibetans weren't able to do long distance healing. Just think about that. Think about what they have been able to do in terms of building their temples up on the side of the mountains, and just remarkable things that they've been able to do. So why would Tibetans not be able to do remote long distance healing work? You know, of
Awesome.
course they were.
Yeah.
And the thing is just that a lot of healing practices have gotten lost over thousands of years. And what has come to be called the Tibetan astral healing is one of these things. And most of us, if not all of us, when we open ourselves and raise our vibration to the degree where we can receive the information about what we potentially are here to bring back, is really exciting. And so for some reason, I am the one to bring back this Tibetan astral healing. And in the beginning, I didn't believe in it. I was sure that my guides and my higher self and my soul had the wrong person. It couldn't possibly be that I was chosen to do this. And I've learned 10 years ago, I learned pretty quickly to accept it. And especially when I started sharing it with people and people could feel it and experience the fast shifts in consciousness and experience and alignment and their circulation and their blood flow and their confidence and their self-esteem, you know, they just kept getting better and better and better. And I had to accept, wow, there's really something to this.
Wow. So how were you chosen? And in hindsight, why were you chosen? And if there is a why, and was it a vessel, something about the unique qualities or gifts that you had, and what were you bringing it back from? How far, like how long was it lost, or are you bringing it to the West, just to get some idea of Tibetan astral healing and how you've sort of brought it back 10 years ago?
Great questions. Thank you for that. So first of all, I do think that we're all here with greater potential, and it's up to each one of us to advance ourselves vibrationally, alignment, connection to our higher self and our soul, connection with our full potential and stepping into that, and clearing all of the resistance and all the things, all the limitations, so we can truly step into that. And then we're able to call forth what it is we're here to bring back. So I do believe that we all have that capacity. And that is one of my favorite things to assist people in. That's why one of my mottos is unleash your healer within. When we're unleashing our healer within, it is literally stepping into our potential so we can shine and be that full potential that we are. Miracles happen with that. And so 10 years ago, I had already been meditating for a long time. Back in 98, I went to Nepal, where I became a yoga instructor, and I integrated a yogic lifestyle and went very deep with meditation and breath work. And that led me into the Kriya yoga meditation practice. And I've met some beautiful masters within the Kriya yoga community. And they later on, when I started receiving the downloads for this Tibetan astral healing in 2013, these masters became instrumental. My deep connection with them through my meditation opened me up to receive their guidance and their teachings through the meditations. So for many, many years, I spent long time meditating in retreats and intensives, silent retreats in India and Israel and all over the world. So that prepared me. It prepared my field, because I would meditate 2 to 10 hours a day. So
Wow.
I was very dedicated.
Wow.
And then I started working with some psychics, and they kept asking me, Heidi, have you started doing your cranial work long distance yet? And I was like, what are you talking about? Not possible. And I don't know what you're referring to. I have no idea what you mean. It didn't have anything to do with it. And it just kept knocking. Hello? Hello? They didn't leave me alone. And so eventually I had to surrender to it and like, okay, show me. So I would literally bring my hands up every single day, several times a day, and I would ask, show me, who needs the healing today? Who needs the healing? The healing, not my healing. I have been guided to the name Heidi Healing, which I'm very shy about using. It is my website because I was guided to that name, and when I searched for the domain, it was available. That must be a sign, you know? Heidi is the fairly common name, and healing is used so much. And HeidiHealing.com, that domain was available. I was like,
It's a beautiful website. I checked it out. The pictures, it's the layout. It's come out amazing. But no,
Thank you, Shay.
that's one of many signs I'm sure you've received.
I know, right? So when we receive enough signs, we got to surrender to that. Wow, there is something to this, you know? And so I would have my fingers and hands up every day, and I would close my eyes, and then some master, some avatar, some great angel or something would come through and show me. Even the elements, the wind and the rocks and the sun, all of the elements would come through and just show me how to work this healing for the sake of improving lives.
Wow.
And this particular technique is really wonderful for anybody, because healing is so much about service and helping others in kindness and compassion and surrendering. All of this has so much to do with healing. And so if you watching, are aware that you have healing abilities and it is in your desire and something you wish to improve upon and really stepping into your full potential, then the first criteria is really to find a practice that will get you into a higher frequency, where you will vibrate at a higher resonance with love and kindness and compassion and surrender. For me, it was yoga and meditation and breath work, but it can be anything for people. And mantras are really helpful in gaining control of the mind, because the mind can be mischievous, can really throw a lot of junk at us and interferences of a lot of things in the world. So when I started really downloading and having these divine transmissions, I was working with some very intense mantra practices and breath work. And I was doing some very deep past life regression work to clear all of the resistance and all of the limitations and all of the beliefs and opinions that just didn't serve me and instead was holding me back. I was clearing all of that away, kind of like you're clearing a mirror. The mirror is really dirty. How are you gonna make yourself look good, you know? You can't see a thing. So you got to clean the mirror in order to see yourself. And when it's clean, then you can see clearly, right? So I did that for many years. I went really, really deep into my subconscious. And at days, it was hell. All I could do was digging in the dirt in my vegetable garden and just say my mantra, I can and I will, I can and I will, shaking.
Nice.
I mean, it's been an amazing journey. So, because we have to free ourselves from all that which we're not. And it's a lot. And then it's like a diamond. If you find a diamond, I love this metaphor. If you find a diamond in the mine, it's rough and black, and it doesn't even look like a diamond, right?
Yeah.
And you find it and you crack it open and it starts polishing. You polish it, and it undergoes all this friction and the heat and everything. And then it will shine beautifully. And anything is possible, you know, to take such a rough cut black thing to be so beautiful. Anything is possible, you know. And we all have that potential. Every single one of us have that potential. So first step is to find practices that resonates with you to vibrate higher. And I personally love learning muscle testing, some kind of muscle testing or energy testing. And I teach that to my apprentices and my students and my clients. And when people are willing to embrace and learn these muscle testing techniques, they can confirm what's true for them. They can confirm the information they receive. They can confirm what practices work the best for them, for their greatest good. And so that's what started happening a decade ago for me. I started learning all of these practices, and I was able to determine and discern my truth. And when that happens, there is nothing that can stop us.
You are shining like a diamond, Heidi. I love it. That's shine on, you wise diamond. In terms of the past life regressions and the work, and at some point I'd like you to walk us through. You're in Denmark, you do your undergrad, you travel the world. If you could walk us through all the modalities and go step by step, just as quickly as you can. But right now I was curious, for the past life regressions, were you doing them yourself with the modalities you had learned, or were there some other techniques, or was it the breath work, yoga, and the mantras, the Holy Trinity, it seems like?
So I did meet a group of people back in 2013 that helped me to learn some specific techniques, and it became the foundation for what I call the lightning soul renewal process today. And in yoga therapy, we work a lot with samskaras. Samskaras. In Tibetan, they're called sansaras. And these are mental blockages. It's kind of like a mental karma that limits us, that holds us back. And they are caused by trauma in our timeline. We all have a really long timeline, and somewhere along that timeline, call it past life, call it consciousness, we're all major consciousness that have been going on forever. There's no beginning, there's no end. And whenever traumas happen, and trauma happens, then if we were not ready to resolve it, and it created a blockage of some negative emotion like a hatred or jealousy or revenge or any kind of unhealthy emotion that got trapped within us, stored in our memory, in our DNA, then that becomes a mental karma. It becomes a blockage, and it will show up in the body. And most diseases, especially chronic conditions, are caused by these mental blockages. Call them samskaras, call it karma, whatever you want to call it, blockages, anything. And so there are practices that can go in and literally resolve this trauma and heal it up. It's kind of like a psychic wound that didn't heal properly somewhere in our timeline, somewhere in our consciousness. So we have ways to vibrate high enough so it's safe. If you think of this psychic wound or this scar, this wound, as a black hole, we can literally vibrate and raise our frequency so much that there is so much light vibration that it's safe to shine our light into that black hole and clean it out, resolve it, heal it up, and clean it so beautifully that there's not even a scar left. Wow. And miraculous, magical healing occurs. It's amazing what I witnessed. So this is what I call lightning soul renewal processes, and I'm so excited about this process. It has evolved so much since I did it. I started these processes in 2015, and it was to help me to really shine in in the mirror, right? Clear. I always have had a desire to take the shortcut to know who I am and see myself so clearly in the mirror. And so when I started downloading the Tibetan astral healing 10 years ago, I knew that I had to do something to speed myself up in order to hold the energy of this healing. And this samskara clearing process became incredibly instrumental. And over the last 8 years, since I started in 2015 with those, it has evolved. So in a very short amount of time, we're able to heal so many of these black holes. Another thing about these black holes, they are the patterns of unworthiness, patterns of any kind of deep-seated emotion that drives us into making mistakes and limitations and whatnot we come up against in life. And when we clear that away and we develop self-esteem, confidence, we heal in these remarkable ways, and we can live our full potential. And so that is what has become my soul renewal practitioner training. I teach my apprentices how to facilitate this lightning soul renewal process. And what has been shown to me when they are receiving the Tibetan astral healing and undergoing this lightning soul renewal process simultaneously, or in the program doing both, they support each other so beautifully that receiving the Tibetan astral healing helps people to clear that mental karma and help them to shine their light so much brighter that it becomes so much easier to free themselves from all these underlying unresolved generational cycles of traumatic patterns.
So many questions, and that sounds amazing, and love to be a part of that process. So it's a 6-month process for the soul renewal training. You've worked wonders with it, you've perfected it, and you've sort of launched it about 8 years ago. I'm just trying to get the structure in my head correct.
So I started personally practicing this 5-step process that is called the lightning soul renewal process.
Yeah.
And so I launched the soul renewal practitioner training. I launched that 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I have done a lot of years of perfecting these practices. And what's another really amazing things that has been shown to me, and what I've discovered, is that when we are journeying through this 5-step process, and it can be done now in 2 to 2.5 hours, and we can do large groups of people even. But even if it's just one person, even if I just go through the process myself, what has become known to me now is that souls, so when a person dies, their soul, if it does not go into the light, for various reasons, a soul often does not go into the light. It may feel unworthy of the light. It may be scared of the light. It may be attached to its life too much. So many people, when they die, their soul does not move into the light and they cannot evolve. They get stuck in the in-between world. And that's what we call ghosts. It's what we call when houses are haunted and so forth. It's these stuck souls that abide in that area. So the light that shines in these processes is so bright that somehow it became known in the in-between world. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And all of a sudden, it was my cats that alerted me to it, because one night before I was to facilitate the process with a group of my apprentices, that my cats, they were like, "What is that, Mom? What is that? What is that?" And they would be like looking around, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I then became aware, wow, we have visitors here, a lot of them. How did you all find this? There were thousands of souls. And I like, okay, we gotta have some boundaries here. You can't be inside my walls. You can wait outside. and then we'll see what happens. And they all journeyed into the light during the process the next day. The joy. And again, I told you earlier that we all practice muscle testing in one way or another. There are some really great advanced muscle testing techniques, energy testing, where you can test and discern the energetics of things. And I call it the illuminating discernment technique. And it can confirm the truth of things. So I had my whole group ask the questions. Is it true? Is it really true that souls were able to go into the light during our work today? And they all got a yes.
It's amazing. That's beautiful. I got chills when you were just talking about it. That's blessed. And I imagine those ghosts or those souls are trapped in there for a really long time. So wow. Where do I sign up? No, I've got the rest of the podcast to do. But no,
There are many different levels. So,
right.
the practitioner training is not for everybody. It's for those that are really serious about wanting to advance themselves as a spiritual healer and activate their spiritual gifts and their intuitive powers. But there are many things besides the practitioner training that a person can do with me and benefit from. So I do currently offer the muscle testing, the intuition building classes online, so anybody can join those. And I do make the lightning soul renewal process accessible for people to do with me. I am currently taking individual people outside of the program. So if you were to want to do a lightning soul renewal process to clean your mirror off so you can see yourself clearly.
Yeah, dirty for me. I gotta wipe some stuff off personally.
then I could assist you through the process. But there are times when I close my services off for only apprentices, and I would refer you out to my graduates. And other things that I currently am offering, I do Ayurvedic consultations. The Ayurvedic consultations, I can do those in person, but if you're not in Colorado, I do very successful phone consultations and virtual consultations. Again, because I am so well established in energy testing techniques and the proxy muscle testing, I can feel on my own body what is true for you. So I will scan through your energetic field with your permission, of course, and communicate with your organs and your tissues to discover what herbs are in your greatest alignment and what treatments will benefit you in the most effective way to heal the fastest and the most the most effective ways for you.
Well, so that's it's a lot of different options to work with you then. I guess with the and they all sound amazing, but with the muscle testing, if you could just give me an example so people feel it in there, because you mentioned a few times, but just specifically, if you could just do energy, if you could just talk a little bit more about that, I'll stop stuttering.
Just close your eyes for a moment. Drop down your heart, put your hands on your heart. Touch really helps energy move and awareness. So bring your attention down into your heart and breathe long and deep. Inhaling love and exhaling peace, coming home. Breathing your way into your alignment with your higher self, loving yourself deeply. Trusting that you are loved. So just feel that love in your inhalation and peace in the exhalation. And now bring your fingers together. This is one of the muscle testing techniques. You make 2 rings with your thumb and index finger, and then you interlink them. And then if you ask, is it true that people call me, and then say the name that people call you? For me, Heidi. Is it true that people call me Heidi? And my fingers are strong. My muscles become strong. So the basic premise, the foundation of how muscle testing works, is that when you make a true statement, your muscles become stronger. Your body literally becomes stronger in some way, so you can feel the truth statement. So if you were to ask, is it true that people call me Shay? And then you feel the rings. You feel them strong?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I was to say, is it true that people call me Shay? My muscles are weak, because that's a lie.
Heidi, yeah.
So if you ask, is it true that people call me Heidi? And you try to test that, your fingers won't stay together. They flip out. They slide. And so that is the premise, that there is a natural tendency in our universe that will make us stronger when we're in alignment, when we're standing in our truth, when we're owning our personal power. So we can advance ourselves and we can ask questions. So if I was to work with you right now, Shay, and I wanted to have a communication with your liver, spring season as we're in right now, it's very common for the liver to need some help. So I have a whole numbering system within my energy testing discernment technique that gives me access to know where your liver is operating at. And based upon the number, I know what the state of your liver is at. So if you were to give me permission to communicate with your liver and your other organs, I would tune in. Whatever information I would receive, I would then confirm it with the muscle testing. And then I would know what herb or what herbs would be most beneficial for you, or what practices, what breathing practices, what cleansing techniques, what will help you the most to heal the fastest. Now, some people are afraid of healing fast because they think, oh, I will miss out on lessons. No, it's not like that. That's not how it works.
Cool. And you said, so you tie that in with the Ayurvedic practices, but you were an Ayurvedic practitioner for 24 or for bulk of your career before you tuned into these extra special gifts.
So I started back in 98 teaching yoga.
Oh, right.
And teaching breath work and meditation. And then in 2006, I became a yoga therapist and started working more with the subconscious. And then I became a Tibetan cranial practitioner in 2008. In that mix, I also graduated as a Panchakarma technician, became certified in that, and certified as a postpartum specialist. So I did a lot of things. And then in 2009, I started as an Ayurvedic counselor. And in 2010, I became an Ayurvedic practitioner. And in 2012, I graduated from another Ayurvedic practitioner program and became a NAMA certified Ayurvedic doctor in 2012.
And you use all of that to diagnose a person and give them the herbs, and I guess the feeling you sort of tapped into being able to tap into someone's fields. How did that come about? Or was there a specific practice or just a combination of everything? I'm curious.
So the basic learning is to get established in muscle testing.
Okay.
So a lot of people, and if you're watching and you're one of them, and you can't feel the difference between what is strong and what is weak, don't worry, because more than 90% of the population cannot feel a difference. And the reason being is people, and if you're one of them, the thing is to get deeper established in loving yourself. When you start loving yourself and forgiving yourself and forgiving others, to let go of grudges, and you start accepting yourself and you start feeling that unconditional love towards yourself, because there is a lot to be said about seeking love from the external world, because deep within we feel unworthy of love. And then we seek the love from the outer world. But as that goes on, we lose ourselves. We give our power away to others by wanting the love to come from outside of ourselves. So self-love is truly that cultivation of feeling the love from within us. And it's so essential for the sake of feeling the difference between love and hate, even. When we're not established in self-love, we can't really feel the difference. And that's one of the reasons why so much crazy stuff is happening in the world, right? Because people can do very violent, mean things to themselves and each other because they just can't feel the difference. It's all so muddy. And so deepening your self-love is essential and the basis for muscle testing and energy testing to work. So a mantra, for example, could be, I am now lovable. I choose to believe that I am loved. I love me more now. I'm choosing to believe that, wow, I have what it takes to open my heart, to feel greater love for myself. And I choose to practice deeper forgiveness. A lot of people don't know how to forgive, which is what this lightning soul renewal process, the 5-step process that I teach and take people through. That process helps people so much to clear the grudges and get into the heart fully so they can truly forgive. I have not had a single person not be able to forgive. Said in other words, I will have a person that doesn't believe that they can forgive those that hurt them. They go through the process. Maybe they have to go through the process a few times. In the soul renewal practitioner training, there's a requirement of 10 processes people have to do with me, and they have to do a lot on their own. And even just a few processes, they will be able to get into the heart. Their heart starts opening, and every single person that I've worked with up to date, they always find a way to forgive their perpetrators. It's beautiful. And so much healing comes from it.
How do we get this to some of the politicians and, and the rulers of the land? No, that's...
Well, it's interesting you say that, because so when a person completes this 5-step process that I call the lightning soul renewal process, when they complete it, they vibrate so high. And at the end of the process, I always channel some Tibetan astral healing for the person to lie down and receive. And when they're vibrating so high after doing the process, they very easily can receive the healing. So this is one of the pieces to know. If you want to receive long distance healing, the healing will always work as long as it's done and channeled with proper intentions for you. If you don't experience any benefit, it's not because of the healing, it's because your vibration and your frequency is not high enough. So coming back to the essential and the essence of raising vibration and frequency and coming into a higher frequency, into the love, into the forgiveness, into the surrender, into the liberation, into truly standing in your truth. When you start operating and vibrating in that frequency, then it's easy to receive remote healing. Then there is no question about distance whatsoever. And so when I channel the Tibetan astral healing, so as I said, when people have completed the 5-step process, it's easy for them to receive the Tibetan astral healing. And often, so when I channel it, I am working on the collective consciousness. And we're all tapped into the collective consciousness. We're all part of it.
Right.
So when I work on the collective consciousness, every single person that is tapped into it and tuned into it, or I shine light on, will receive it. And often I'm called to work on certain groups of people, including politicians, including great leaders of this world, including countries or cities. So it just depends. So coming back to, I mentioned that how I learned originally was I would put my hands up and I was asked, who needs this healing at this time? Not only would I be shown how to channel the healing and how to share it, it would also be shown to me who needs to receive it. And I have just witnessed the most amazing things.
Any examples? I'm so curious. Also, just talking to you makes me love myself and you and your work more. So thank you for inspiring me and hopefully some of the listeners to feel that love for ourselves. And that's the foundation. But yeah, I'm curious just to go a little bit into the excitement of which politicians or cities or countries that you can share briefly.
So with being established in the muscle testing. So again, the steps. First, find a way to raise your vibration and your frequency, whether it's meditation, breath work, mantras, healing. Find something that resonates with you.
Yeah, I'm so
Do something. And if you don't know where to go, then connect with me. My website is HeidiHealing.com or HeidiNordlund.com, and let's connect, because I'm sure I have something. I do a lot of different classes. I do a lot of different healing possibilities and opportunities. So there's something for everybody. And so get your vibration and frequency elevated. Then open yourself up to receive. Open your heart. This is one of my gifts here that I have learned is one of my missions, to help people open their hearts so they can truly unleash their healer within. And so when all of this is happening, we can get grounded in the muscle testing and confirm the findings. So I haven't looked at the statistics for the different places and so forth when I have shared a healing. But some of the things that I've been called to has been more in the 50 to 70 years, in the baby boomers. There's been a lot of focus in the last year on that population in pretty much all over the world. In this country, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, or just to name some of the places where it's been, I've felt that calling for this population to really shine the light onto them, to help them in some remarkable ways. And so, is it working? You know, if I ask, is it true that it's working? I get a yes. I always make sure that I'm connected. Is it true that I'm loved? That should always be a yes. Is it true I should drink gasoline right now? No. And so I can call up a friend and I can confirm that I'm tuned in and aligned, and that my muscle testing is accurate, and it will confirm the findings. And so there are ways in the more advanced muscle testing, energy testing. What we do in our classes, we can throw anonymous questions. So Shay, let's say you know this energy testing technique, and I say, is it true that? And then I throw the questions at you. So you don't even know what the question is. Then you just get a yes or a no. Because sometimes the question can trigger you. Like if I ask something about a politician, now there's such heated disagreements with the oppositions in this country right now, that there's a great opportunity, or possibility is the right word, possibility that we could end up saying something that could trigger you. And if I say something that triggers you, that'll throw you off and you'll get emotional, and you cannot have an accurate discernment in that emotional state. So there are ways to operate vibrationally where I can throw an anonymous question at you and you will get the answer. And we've done that a lot. And so I've confirmed.
It's awesome.
Findings.
I'd love to. I mean, I've looked at different studies across the world where people come together and meditate, and then they bring down the crime rate of cities. They, you know, during the period that meditated. I think there's studies that say that the square root of 1%, so like a really tiny percentage of the population. So you take 1% of the population, you take the square root of that, or even less than that, and it you know, and for you, it sounds like just one person can affect so much, and one channel, one cleared out, strong channel. But do you meditate with your community, with the teachers, with your students? Do you come together to focus on certain areas? And would we have to work or study with you to be able to meditate with you, or how would that look?
So I teach a lot. And meditation is definitely something that I love. I have meditated since 98, very deeply. And I'm very well established in my Kriya Yoga practice. And I feel a deep, deep connection to my masters, because so many of them have helped me in so many ways. And so many wonderful techniques are laid out in our yoga scriptures, like the Hatha Pradipika. I used to really read the scriptures. It used to be the only books, the Ayurvedic scriptures and the yoga scriptures. For years, they would be the only books I would read. And I was so serious about it until I learned the muscle testing. Because then I was being channeled, yeah, sure, but I was being challenged is the word I was needing to say. I was challenged to discover my truth. My truth. My truth is not written in the scriptures. That truth in the scriptures is the truth of those that have written those books and come to those findings thousands of years ago. And while a lot of it can be considered general knowledge, and it works for the most people, there are still so many things that when we discover our own truth, we walk our own path of liberation and enlightenment, is to discover our own truth, not the truth of others, right? I went through this extreme period of time of existential crisis because everything I believed in was not all my truth. So I had to filter through what is true for me. And so many things I believed in, Shay, was not my truth.
No.
And that can be a really scary place to stand when our entire foundation shakes about what we believe in. Because then if you pick up a book, like right now, if I pick up a book, I will put my hand on it and I will ask, what percent of this book is for me, meaning is my truth and will benefit me to read? It may only be 10-20% of a whole fat book. And then I will ask, what pages do I need to read in this book? And then the numbers will come to me and I will confirm it with the muscle testing. Is it true that I should read these pages? Okay, and I'll flip the book up, and often I will ask a question or ask something that I need to know before I tune into the book. And guess what? When I open the book on those pages, there's the exact answer. It's always about the topic that I wanted to know about. Always. It never fails because we're tuned in. And when we surrender to our higher intelligence, it never lets us down. It's so miraculous. So, there are so many examples of this. It's so beautiful. And it can happen for anybody. Anybody can learn and activate their intuitive abilities and learn a testing system that can confirm the findings. It's so essential. I can't emphasize that enough. To have a tool, a technique that can confirm your assessments and your findings is so essential, because then we know we're making a decision. We know we're guided for our greatest good and the greatest good of all. And life is good. And it becomes so much easier to be forgiving and accepting and living in a higher vibration, because we know no matter what happens is for our own benefit in one way or another. And we don't have to get stuck in the whole blame game and shame and guilt and all of that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I still fall into those holes. I'm human, you know? And I don't spend much time there. You know, because I have learned so many beautiful techniques, and I can confirm, why is that pain happening? Why, like if I trespass, for example, if I trespass on my truth and I think something that is not in alignment with the frequency of compassion and kindness and love, if I drop down, immediately I will experience a pain somewhere in my body. I will immediately get the turnaround. It's like a boomerang. Poof, immediately. You are out of alignment, girl. Get yourself back into alignment. And so instead of wallowing in the pain and all of that, I know how to get the information and confirm it and fix it. If I need to, okay, I trespassed, okay, I need to forgive for 5 hours to really free myself from this, because I may have made a huge mistake, you know, and it may take 5 hours of concentrated forgiveness. I will do it. I will be on my crying knees surrendering, like, I forgive me for making this mistake. And that may be the difference, you know, from somebody that doesn't heal for a really long time. They just don't know that they have the ability to heal in a matter of just a few hours. Because I can be in debilitating pain where I can't move, and in 5 hours later, boom, I'm completely free from it.
So yeah, I started reading The Presence Process. I have a few friends who read that book, because I think he had a disease that was uncurable, and you know, that was his process of how to be more present in every moment. And yeah, it sounds like that. It sounds like you're a living embodiment of that presence process. The more you channel your energies to raise your vibration and to stay present with every aspect of your life, somehow the pain just doesn't appear anymore. So that's and that's physical pain and all kinds of other pain. And I guess the flip side to that, if someone's hearing is we could avoid our pain in unhealthy ways. Is there something you want to talk to about that for, say, someone not as trained as you, or maybe there are ways that we can trick ourselves with our mind to say, hey, we're vibrating higher and we're good, but then we're just neglecting a real truth maybe. Could you speak
I
to that, or if you
love
had
that
clients like
question.
that, or what's that?
Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful question. So first of all, let's practice so you can protect yourself more. So close your eyes and take your energy really big. Expand your energy. Imagine you're getting really tall, like 400 feet tall up above you, and expand it deep down below you into the center of the earth. So you get the sense that you're really tall and really deeply rooted into the earth. Then meet your energy in your heart. This energy that you're tapping into is your light. It is your divine light. You are a divine, radiant light. And get the sense that, wow, you are radiant, shining. And now, as you breathe, expand your light energy outward in all directions and expand so wide and far that you get the sense that you're bigger than this planet. You're vibrating so big. So practicing just this easy technique, that you remember you're an energetic being, a spiritual energetic being having a human experience, and that you remember to expand again and again and again and again, is very protective. It's very protective. It's not 100%. It's not 100%. So, because we forget. We're in a human body and we come into this human body with amnesia about who we were in just our last lifetime and who we are for the most part, right? So we forget and we make ourselves susceptible. We end up taking things personal. We do all kinds of crazy things. We give away our power. We think love comes from outside. I mean, we do a lot of crazy things. So we make ourselves susceptible for energy attacks, right? And
That was a really cool exercise. I just wanted to say I felt massive. I'm not that tall, but I felt like taller than I've ever felt. I could see myself soaring. It was very empowering. Sorry, go ahead. Just wanted to share that.
And see, that's the thing. When we remember how big we are, and literally you are such a huge, vast, limitless, energetic being, when you remember and you step into that power, all of the problems, all of the diseases, all the quarrels, all the grudges, all the shame, everything becomes so minute and small. So when we're in that big, expansive state, it's so much easier to really free ourselves from all of it, right? And so thank you for bringing that out. Second of all, I'd like to share mantra. I call it the firewall protection mantra, that is very effective in cutting energy drains. Because one thought of jealousy, if you have a friend, Shay, that is jealous of you having this amazing job where you get to talk to all of us amazing people, and you have a friend that's jealous of you, that can cause a pretty significant energy drain right there and can put you in pain for weeks. One thought.
Wow.
One thought. Or or somebody that is really missing you. Let's say that you haven't called your mom in a little while and she is really missing you. She's sitting there lonely. She's really missing you. That one thought of that extreme attachment of longing can cause a drain on you, even though it's positive. But it's grasping. It has the stickiness of attachment. He's mine. I miss him. I want him.
Yeah, this is useful info. I love you, Ma. Sorry, I'll call you, but I gotta be big now.
So many things can
Yeah.
cause these energy drains on us. Misunderstandings, taking things personal, you know, so many things. And so let's practice. Close your eyes. Get your energy and your light vibration really big. And it can help by saying, I direct divine light. Say that out loud. I direct divine light.
I direct divine light.
Infinite times.
Infinite times.
The power of infinite.
The power of infinite.
Into a wall of fire.
Into a wall of fire.
All around me.
All around me.
Disconnecting me.
Disconnecting me.
From all negative energies.
From all negative energies.
100%.
100%.
Now and forevermore.
Now and forevermore.
May it be.
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 Now clap really loud with your hands. And say out loud, and so it is.
And so it is.
And breathe really long and deep. And if you had a drain on you and you just cleared it and cut it off, disconnected it, you will feel lighter.
Yeah, I feel like more energetic. So someone, who was that? I mean, I don't care now, but that was awesome. Thank you.
I love that. I love that curiosity, Shay, because I'm always curious. If I have a drain on me, I want to know.
It's like, you're doing your thing. I love and respect you to the best, but like, who? I'm so curious. Like, I want to know.
No, it's really there's nothing wrong in knowing, because when you know, you can send that person the love and the light and forgive them. They usually don't know that they put a drain on you. It's completely unconscious. And
Wondering
it's for the most part it is.
I'm sorry?
Say that again.
I was wondering if I'm putting a drain on someone now, if it's unconscious, you know, but
there's a lot to forgive ourselves for. We'll never run out of things to forgive ourselves for, because we are human and our human mind will do some pretty outrageous things.
Oh, this has been awesome. I love the meditations, the clearing, the way to receive energy. So I know there's a lot of energy healers, I imagine, who'd be listening. I recently, in the last year, started doing more of that, and I'm a little scared of doing the distance healing more. And so I think setting up the person to raise their vibration and to put them in that space would make it easier for me to do that too. But yeah, I think we've been chatting for an hour. It didn't feel like an hour, but I also I could feel you, like, you'd laugh and raise the vibration. I was like, ooh, why do I feel like extra awake? It's very palpable with you when you kind of raise the vibration. It raises it for the Zoom room, or, you know, for the people listening. I'm sure they can hear it in your voice. So but yeah, I wanted to ask you a few more questions before we go, unless you had something that you wanted to ask.
I wanted to say that I would love to connect. I have a lot of gifts to gift people. I have received so many blessings in this lifetime, and I love to gift people. So you can go onto my website, HeidiHealing.com, and I have under health tips, I give monthly gifts in my newsletters, so it's possible to sign up for that. I give weekly healings. I gift people weekly healings in my public Facebook group that's called Soul Renewal, Unleash Your Healer Within. And if you contact me through my website or message me through Facebook, then say that you watched this interview and that you made it here till the end of this interview, and share that with me, and I will gift you my 5-day healing, high vibe healing challenge that is full of practices to help cut contracts and soul agreements and raise your vibration, mantras, self-love practices, so you can deeply open your heart. And I will gift you all of that.
That was awesome. All at HeidiHealing.com. But if you have a few more minutes, just to take more of your time, I think we covered most. I do a rapid fire at the end sometimes, but we covered most of those topics. If there's something we haven't covered, or if you want to speak a little bit more about them, we'll do that. And then I'll end with just the last 3 questions. But do you have, I know John won't like this. This has gone over time, and he's set up the platform with Mastermind. Hey, John, hope you're listening. So yeah, real quick, do you use with your healing just the benefits, or if you could talk very quickly to these topics, just in a sentence, and we'll try and get like a ton of topics done in 2 or 3 minutes. So crystals, just, do they come up in your work or your healing at all? Do you use them? Which kinds?
I love crystals. They're great friends, and I have lots of crystals in my house. I love when I feel the calling to bring more crystals home to support me in my healing work. I will communicate with the stones through their pictures, and then I will confirm with the discernment technique, with the muscle testing technique. And if I get a yes that the stone wants to help me, then I can discern what vibration the stone vibrates at, because it may be that kind of stone, that kind of crystal that want to help me. And let's say an amethyst crystal wants to help me, and I want one that vibrates in the millions. I don't want one that vibrates at 100. Even 100 will help. Like, imagine that somebody vibrates negatively. 100 will help them tremendously. But for my healing work, I want high vibration, like millions and billions and trillions, you know?
So you can clear it and make it vibrate higher, though, right? Like if you were to channel into it, is that a thing? Sorry,
that is the thing.
Okay, perfect.
Crystals in general love the vibration of love. So a lot of crystals, pretty much all crystals, will purify and clear in the energy of love. Now, of course, they love salt water and grounding in the earth and so forth as well. And when you know a muscle testing technique, you can discern what your crystals will clear the easiest with. And most often, for my crystals at least, they want my touch and they want love and they sparkle.
That's awesome. Thank you. No, I think we'll snip off the interview story after the website, and then we'll add this as an add-on. But that was an awesome answer, but I know the rest will be. I know you've had so many gurus and mentors over the years. So in terms of gurus, mentors, shamans, guides, if you could just talk about the ones that have had the most influence in terms of in this physical world, or even guides outside of this world?
Okay, I'm going to share something that I've never shared publicly before.
Thank you.
And it's about one of the greatest masters by the name of Sri Yukteswarji. It's Yogananda's master, Paramahamsa Yogananda in the Kriya Yoga. It was also my guru, Paramahamsa Hariharananda's guru. My master Hariharananda, I got to spend time with him. And I have so many stories about my relationship with Hariharananda. And what I want to share is gonna be hard to believe. Okay, so just embrace yourself and open your heart, and forgive me for what I have to say right now. Learn a muscle testing technique and confirm the truth of my statements. This is a truth that I have had a really great challenge to embrace and accept, because I was trained in my yoga, Kriya Yoga community to love and respect Sri Yukteswarji, because he is made out to be the master with the greatest of discipline. He's always referred to as very stern and not like any other masters. And he, at his later time in his life, operated very much in the causal body, at the causal plane. So deeply advanced, such a great master. He was so deeply established in that subtle causal body that when his wife and daughter died in an accident, there was just no way he could relate with the human physical emotions of grief. Can you imagine that? Being so advanced spiritually, so beyond the physical realm, that all of a sudden something so traumatic happened that there was just no way he could process that, because he was so beyond. And something shifted in his energetics with that kind of trauma, and not being able to process it in the physical body. It got stuck somewhere. And when there is a stuck trauma unresolved, it can create all sorts of emotions that can become limitations. And it did. It didn't prevent him from, when he died, he was able to gather all his molecules and everything, and he was able to bring himself back in flesh and blood in front of Yogananda. In the autobiography of a yogi, in the chapter 143 with the resurrection of Sri Yukteswarji, he answers all of Yogananda's questions after he was dead. He brought himself back to life. That was the greatness of this master. I mean, so beyond physical realm. And when I, along with a lot of other people, have been discerning the energetics of the pictures of my lineage and my masters, great masters, his picture shows that there was some dark interference about him. And call it curse, call it whatever. Nevertheless, because of those unresolved physical emotions of grief, they created some limitations. And I really had a hard time embracing this truth. And I can even feel right now saying this in public, I'm like, oh my God, Heidi, are you sure you want to be saying this? But nevertheless, those that make it this far in this interview will be able to handle this truth and will be able to discern the truth of it for themselves. But so when I started practicing the past life regression work, the 5-step process, it became such a curious question. Why could the energy in my home not maintain the high vibration? Why did it crash so quickly? And when I became alerted to Sri Yukteswarji's energy in his latter years, and I removed the 26 pictures of him that I had in my home, I loved him, right? 26 pictures I had. And I packed them away. All of a sudden, the energy in my home stabilized.
Wow.
How do you describe that? You know,
Wow.
how do you describe that? So I know somebody that wanted to take on the discipline that Sri Yukteswarji had. He was extremely disciplined. And he took his picture and laminated and put it on his chest, and it burned him.
Mm.
So there are these mysterious things. So yeah. So what I want to say with this, why do I bring this up? Because when I discovered that he carried this darkness, I became very scared of him. I didn't want to say his name. I didn't want to focus on his photo, because I would still go to the ashrams, and he's a major master in our lineage. So his picture's all over, right? But I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to go into a room with this picture. I felt like, oh my God, what is me? All this stuff, right? But that was just my insecurity. Then I was put in situations where I experienced some extreme loss. Okay, I went through a period of time where I lost everything for the sake of regaining myself into wholeness. Sometimes the greatest of lessons are the hardest ones, but only because I had a belief that for me to truly learn the greatness of myself, I had to learn the hard way. That was an underlying belief I had. Okay. And so that came to fruition. So let's just cut that right now. If you believe that things have to be hard in order to learn them, just whoof, cut it off, change that belief. I now choose to make it easy. I can learn with ease and grace. Okay.
Learn with ease and grace. I choose to make it easy. Note to self. Thank you.
So I got possessed because I became vulnerable, and I became weak, and I became susceptible for this. And I thought this was something that it was with a person that I thought could save me. Okay, I was stuck in a belief that I had to be saved. That is not going to take us anywhere good, because we have to take responsibility for our own liberation and our own enlightenment, and then we can save ourselves. If we choose to believe that somebody can come and save us, we give our power away. And that's exactly what I did. And I made myself susceptible for being possessed. And the person that possessed me is very, very powerful. And the greatest of beings that I know of powerful is Sri Yukteswar. Sri Yukteswarji, I embodied him. It was early in the morning. I was shaking. I was terrified. I knew that I had this other person's possession in me, because I couldn't think like I usually think. And I knew this person enough to know that she had taken over my mind, and it was that person's thoughts that I was thinking. Yeah. And so I embodied Sri Yukteswarji, and I established his power in the causal body. And I kicked the person's ass that was possessing me.
Love it.
So you see how I took my fear of something that I had discovered to make it my greatest blessing to free myself and and recognize how powerful I am and how I can align myself with these great masters. So that is the reason why I bring up this, because of my own shortcomings and my own limitations and my own weakness, and how I became afraid of one of my greatest masters that had taught me so much. Sri Yukteswarji came through and taught me so much about the Tibetan astral healing when that was being revealed to me. And yet I wanted to disown him. I couldn't even look at his picture. Oh my God, you know? And then he became my savior in such a beautiful way.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
that's amazing. Thanks for sharing. I mean, that blows my mind. I mean, I've read the book and I love Paramahansa Yogananda did that. What's your relationship with Sri? So now it's a healthy, like, how would you define your relationship now? Do you still see the darkness there? Were you able to clear it with someone else, or is it still there? Or
So good question. So I don't know if curse is the right word, but when he went into the darkness, there was some kind of darkness, a spell or a curse or something. I don't know if those are the right words, but something happened. And our Kriya ring, I'm not gonna. Oh my God. So, but our
spiritual healer might have flipped us off.
Our Kriya ring is 3 metals that are twisted, and
Yep.
it's a common ring in the Kriya Yoga community. They also have it in Art of Living and different groups. And Sri Yukteswarji made it a bangle. You read about it in Yogananda's book that he had it on his arm. And somehow there is a darkness that's associated with it. If any Kriyavans are listening to this, they're going to think I've lost it and that I'm like way out there. And yet, all I can say, learn and get established in a testing technique and confirm the truth for yourself. This is my truth. This is my experience, because when I was working with a group of light workers, and there was, so this is what happened. When I started doing this 5-step process that today is the Lightning Soul Renewal process, has evolved into that. When I started it back in 2015, I would wear this ring during the process and my finger would turn black. Wow. Literally. My hand was black. Weird. Never at any other time. I had that ring on for 16 years. I had that ring on. That would never turn my finger black or green or anything, ever. I started doing that process and my hand got black.
Which process again? Sorry,
the Lightning Soul Renewal process, the techniques that I learned back in 2015 that have evolved into becoming the Lightning Soul Renewal process. When I started doing that past life regression work and raising my vibration like that and shining so much light, this ring would turn my finger black.
Wow. So
I would always take my rings off. And I thought it was odd. So one day I would ask the group, is anybody else's hands turning black with jewelries? Like, why is this happening? And they were all like, oh, what are you talking about? That does not happen. I'm like, well, look. So I kept my ring on one day that I was doing the process with them, and there it was all black. And they were like, whoa, let's see that ring. And they took it and they dropped it. It burnt them. And they were like, what is wrong with that ring? Wow. And they were able to clear it. They were able to purify it. And after that, my hand didn't turn black anymore when I would do the process. So I know that there is something going on. I've had many people confirm this along the way, because I thought I was going crazy with all of this information, right? It's like, what the heck? This can't be right. So I know it's not just a ring. There are people that are carrying this heavy burden of, call it a curse, call it a spell, whatever, but I know that there are people suffering from health issues that are carrying this burden in our community. And so whenever I have the possibility and the opportunity to share practices that can cut that and clear it, I do. But even just to share this with somebody that's within our queer community, they're gonna disown me.
We can edit it out. No, but you were called to share it. But of course, we can edit it out if you change your mind. But this is awesome. I have some close. There's I think a few people I know that would love to hear this, and I'd love their take on it.
I mean,
Babaji is Sri is transcends Sri Yukteswarji, right?
so Babaji, our Mahavatar Babaji, who is the chosen avatar of immortality for this planet. Every planet has a chosen avatar of immortality, and you can confirm that with your own testing. And I have a very strong connection with Mahavatar Babaji. I have a lot of stories about Babaji. So anyway, so Babaji, the stories are all there in the autobiography of a yogi, of how he called Lahiri and how Lahiri remembered who he is and how he started teaching, and Sri Yukteswarji was one of his students. And then Sri Yukteswarji was the master of Yogananda and Harnanda. So yeah, beautiful masters, just so beautiful. I hold them in such great respect, and every single day I connect with them, and I have the opportunity to do a lot of my healing work in their presence with their pictures, including Sri Yukteswarji. Yes.
Yes, he's made it back. But this time he's better. But no, I've gone way over time, even though I'm snipping, and I feel like I could talk to you forever, but I feel like I should sign up for your services to take up more of your time. With Babaji, I'm not sure if you read Apprenticed Himalayan Master by Sri M. It's in the last few years, he's a Kriya Yogi disciple in
I've heard of him.
yeah.
Yeah, beautiful soul.
Yeah, I love his work, and he had wonderful stories about Babaji. I feel like you're both on the Kriya Yogi path, and you both have similarities in various ways. So,
I watched some videos with him and followed him a little bit. Yeah, beautiful.
No, I love that. I feel like I could ask you so many questions just about Babaji. I want an episode just on Babaji, Sri Yukteswarji, and like the whole that whole lineage. But I don't have time for the rest of the rapid fire. But the last three questions, and I'm going to try and squeeze this in just very simply. What makes Heidi the happiest on any given day? You are always raising your vibration, but what makes you the happiest on most days?
Oh, there's so many things. One of the things that I really, really love and that brings me such joy is to witness when somebody has a huge, oh my God moment, aha moment, that so many pieces of their life have seemingly looked as if they were hurting them, as if they were curses, or punishments, and the person has felt like a sinner, and now they're on their healing journey, and they go through some healing work with me, and they come out on the other side and they tell me, oh my God, it all makes sense now. Now I see why I had to experience that and that and that and that for the sake of coming home and recognizing and remembering and seeing and experiencing who I truly am. That immense joy and that lit up face and that brightness that emanates from that realization is so huge, so huge. So that is so big. And then I love nature. I love feeling connected with the universe, the collective consciousness. I love raising my vibration. So real quick, why are we here on this planet? Why are we going through all this crazy stuff? Right? We are these amazing bright lights. So I like to think of evolution as we come from being oneness with the divine, and then we get bored, and then we separate, and we go on a journey to experience our greatness. And in that pursuit of realizing on that journey to experience ourselves, we separate ourselves from the divine, and we separate ourselves really, really, really far until we can't get further away. And it's the greatest illusion of all. And then we finally start making our way back home. And us having this conversation today, and if you're listening, you are well on your way home. Otherwise, you would not have found your way to this interview and listening to this, and you would not have made it through this whole talk and listen to us now if you were not so close, rubbing up against coming truly home into that bliss again. But that is not the end. We will just come home and be in bliss for God knows how long, until we again get bored, and then we start again. And it's just continuing on and on and on and on. No beginning, no end.
Love it. The next question was just, what do you spend the most time thinking about? After that wonderful description of our purpose, it almost seems redundant, but what gets the most airtime in your head? What are your most consistent or persistent thoughts when you have them?
I've done so much practice in forgiveness, but that's kind of like my to-go-to, and my self-love mantras. That's kind of like where that's if my mind is playing tricks on me, that's my to-go-to. I feel safe when I go into forgiving myself, forgiving others. I feel safe when I come into feeling loved. I feel safe with my mantras. So if I'm in some kind of challenged state of mind, I have memorized so many mantras in the last 24 years. And so I will ask my higher intelligence, show me which mantra will benefit me the greatest right now. And I'll just start chanting it. It's often my divine light awakening mantra that has been revealed to me. It took me a few years to come to a completion that I was happy with. But most people that work with me, they eventually will experience the divine light awakening. And it's a text that it's a practice, it's a very profound spiritual practice that activates all the doors of all your layers within your consciousness. So it raises vibration and frequency very quickly. And I've made some singing verses to make it easier to remember and so forth. And I love that text. It puts me into an expansive mode. It becomes very easy to expand when I practice that. There's some breathing practices in it, and it really shifts my state of mind very, very quickly.
We'll have to go to the website and then speak to Heidi to get that exact mantra. That sounds awesome. But last words, Heidi, this has been a huge, huge pleasure, and it's taught me a lot, and you've really shown up with a lot of love and wisdom, and yeah, it's made me pumped to do things in a good way. Any final words? Any last message to the listeners, to myself, to humanity at large?
Sure. We all have moments where it feels like we cannot go on this absolutely backwards, crazy planet. We're all in this soup together. We're human beings, and we make the most of what we can and the opportunities that we have. And if you are having a desire to improve yourself, if you have a desire to improve your life, shift some things, change and transform some things, and make a greater life, create a greater life for yourself, then know that that desire is being heard. Your cry for help. Sometimes to really change things, it requires that we get into our crying needs and we truly pray and ask for help. And when we humble ourselves and to surrender to that greater greatness, greater source of light, universal source power, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever you want to call it, you ask for help. And things will start changing right there. Things will start popping up. You ask for help and then start noticing, opening yourself up to receive. Because so often we pray and ask and pray and ask and pray and ask and pray and ask, and we're so full of it. We're so full of prayers that we don't leave any room to open ourselves up to receive the blessings. The universe has so much to give. It loves us so much and wants to give us everything. I mean, there's a reason why the Divine Mother has all these arms in Hinduism, because she has so many arms to give us stuff. There's so much love for us. So launch your desire and then do your practices. Practice self-love, raise your vibration, practice mantras, meditate to open your heart to truly receive the greatness, the signs, the synchronicities. Pay attention to what you're thinking about, because so much of what you're thinking about, not all, but a lot of what you're thinking about is higher intelligence. You think about somebody, reach out to them, and they may say, wow, I was just thinking about you. How did you know? We are connected in our collective consciousness, and it's such a beautiful thing. And it's just, if there's been such trauma happened and you're so stuck in whatever memory of the trauma and the triggers of it, there is such blockages and layers of resistance and whatnot that is just not allowing that positive momentum to come through. There's a negative momentum that is happening. You're literally going in the wrong direction, spiraling down. So to change that, ask for help. Allow yourself to just be and notice whatever signs of opportunities come, and then have the courage to change and do something. Have the courage to do something different. So a positive momentum can start. I really like the example. I think I heard it from Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, the example when a train is going in the wrong direction, where all of a sudden you're realizing you do not want to go to that destination. You can't just jump off the train. You're going to die. It's full momentum going in that direction. You got to find a way to slow down the train and make it stop so you can safely get off. And then you got to find your way onto the train that is going in the direction that you want to get in. And then once you're on the train in the direction you want to go, you got to build up that momentum so you can create a momentum to get where you want to go. So it's a journey, but there is so much help in this journey. There's so much help to be received if and when we can put ourselves in that state to receive it. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Thank you. Bless you. And thank you all for listening if you made it this far. Bless you.